Hi, my name's Lisa and I live in this tiny 1969 vintage caravan, traveling all around the place and doing a little bit of saxophone busking on the side for a bit of extra income. I was actually going to go busking today. That was the plan, but I've been struggling a bit with the busking. I did go out and there was buskers in every spot I usually go to, so I kind of found a different sort of spot, and I checked with the shopkeepers on each side that they were fine with that. It was actually in front of an empty shop that was closed, and the shop on one side was empty and there was an op shop on the other side, and they were like stoked to have me there. But then a lady from a shop a couple of doors up came and, told me that I was too loud and that I was stopping her from being able to do her work, which, seemed weird because the people who I was literally right next to were like loving it. So it's just the way it goes. Of course, I had as a real trigger for me being told I'm too loud is in the "you're too much" category that I've kind of been lumped with most of my life. So it does reveal old wounds to be told that, and I do react quite, it's like an emotional flashback type situation. I do really struggle with that, which is why I get so anxious about going busking, because it has happened a few times, and it's a real struggle for me to actually put myself out there and perform in front of people and be confident enough to do that, given that, I question my value in the world given my circumstances and the way things have panned out, blah blah blah, whatever. Anyway, yeah, I ended up going out again after that once, I thought I'll try it again. I was really struggling. It was my grandson's first birthday, and anyway, I was just on the verge of tears all the time and really struggling, and I made like $14. I played for 3 hours and I made $14, and I was just hauling my stuff all the way up there and back. I pulled a muscle in my shoulder just because trying to get it up over the curb, because I have to kind of lift it up and over the edge of the curb, if there's no ramp on and off from the street to the footpath. Anyway, wow, sad story. There's been a lot going on in the background that has affected my state of mental health quite badly, and yeah, I haven't been in a good place. So I'm onto it with my doctor and my psychologist, and we're trying some different things and hoping that things improve, but in the meantime, yeah, I'm struggling. Some really sweet things have happened in amongst it all, which I try to focus on, and one is that the couple that were doing the cleaning at the showgrounds, and their 2 young sons who I actually really love. Patrick, the eldest son, he's like me, he's really into sloths, funny enough, and I'm a sloth. Sloths and unicorns are my like favorite creatures on the planet. Like, sloths are my spirit animal and have been since I was a little kid, and I first saw them in a documentary, and I'm like, how cool are they? Patrick feels the same way. Anyway, I went to their place because they've got a new caravan, and they've left and hit the road and are, heading down south. And I noticed this. You can see him there, the big sloth there, the little sloth guy. This one, my friend Charlie sent me from Oregon, because she knows I just love sloths too, and he's very super cute. And then I noticed Patrick had this big sloth, and he was moving all his toys from one caravan to the other, and I was like, oh, is that a sloth? And I picked it up, and just as soon as I picked it up, I was like, oh, it's a weighted sloth. It's got it's one of those weighted, if you don't know about weighted things, it's like, that's what Pixie does. So one of the things that when you really anxious and stressed, and if I have like a meltdowny type situation, Pixie, one of her tasks that she's trained to do is she'll actually lie across my chest, and it's like the weight of that actually calms you down, and there's things like weighted blankets and things that you can do to help calm. Anyway, he's a weighted sloth. Does it get any better than that? And I was just really like, I was just standing there talking to them, holding him the whole time, just going, oh my gosh, they didn't know that I was going through a really hard time at all. And then the next day, Sarah sent me a message and said, hey, Patrick wants you to stop by. And he came out of his caravan and he had his hands behind his back like this, and then he holds up this and gives it to me. Oh, honestly, I burst into tears at the sweetness, and such a treasure. What good timing. I told Sarah afterwards, you have no idea. I needed that. So he's joined the family, which is kind of cool because we've got a bit of a theme going on with the squishies now. We've got big sloth, little sloth, total fluke. Then we have... this is one my daughter gave me for Mother's Day, like years ago. Big bear, little bear. So cute. And then this is the one I usually snuggle when I sleep, though that's why he's a little bit ratty-tatty. My pink unicorn with... very snuggly, this one. And then I found this at an op shop, which I think is hilarious. Apparently it's a character from a book. Oh my gosh, the writing's so small. Scholastic. Thelma the Unicorn. Never seen that book, but apparently that's Thelma the Unicorn. So now I've got big unicorn, little unicorn as well. Which is kind of just didn't mean it to happen that way. So that's who's sitting down the end of my bed now. Making me happy when I'm feeling crappy. Oh, that's a rhyme. Anyway, you know what? I wanted to address all of these comments and things that came in after that first video where I sat there and I was like, ABC interviewed me because they put a call out, and they did it on a lot of women's camping, van life, Facebooky groups. Apparently that's how the other women got involved. I asked them, and they were like, do you have any suggestions or advice or tips or things that would help for the government to solve the problem for people in situations like yours? Like, what would be helpful to you? And we all responded with, yes, we do have ideas, and that's why we were interviewed. The fact that they didn't use any of our ideas at all in the article kind of pissed us all off a little bit. As a consequence, you know, I was like, oh wow, this is great. This is a conversation we all need to have, and we need to bring awareness to the situation of the struggles of a different element of homelessness, and from the traditional what you see in the media. You know, dirty camps full of rubbish in some public place, and, you know, problems with drug and alcohol, and all these kind of the public face of homelessness. There's this whole different thing I wanted to shine a light on, which is there's more to it than just what you see. That's all. That's all. And oh my goodness. You know, like I said before, the different comments came, and I've addressed some of them, and I will continue to address some of them. But in the end, it actually got a little bit too overwhelming for me, and I think that's probably what caused me to have a bit of a shutdown type response. I can't solve everybody's problems, and I'm not the kind of person... I mean, my skin isn't thick enough to handle being told out on the street that you're too loud and can you move on and go somewhere else when I'm busking and just trying to make a few dollars to buy some food. I'm not the kind of... That's why I didn't go into politics, and I have studied. I am very well studied. I actually studied constitutional law, jurisprudence. I have half a law degree. I have a half an arts degree in pre-law, and my majors were politics and history, and US history and Australian history and politics of both of those countries. Like, I know my shit. I actually do, and I'm not a stupid person. But the reason I didn't pursue that, I mean, apart from the fact that I got pregnant and had a baby and blah, 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 that happens, didn't finish my law degree, but I never wanted to be a lawyer because I knew that I wasn't going to be the type of person, given my emotional sensitivity, that could stand up and be a cutthroat bitch and argue a case if somebody was attacking me back. Like, it's not my wheelhouse. I'm like so against any kind of confrontation whatsoever. And my solution to conflict is to basically evacuate myself from the whole scenario completely, so that I don't have to deal with it at all. Like, I just don't. And if there's nowhere for me to literally escape to or get away from, I just shut down completely. I can't handle people yelling. I can't handle people being rude. I can't handle people being nasty. I just have zero tolerance for it. So hence my career in politics did not come about, and it wasn't something that I actively pursued. I'm not the person who's going to be the spokesperson for all women in this situation. I'm happy to be interviewed if somebody wants to talk about it. I do have plenty to say. It's easy for me to say that in the comfort and security of my own safe space, and to a screen where there's no reaction coming back at me instantaneously as far as rude comments or whatever. You know, like, you can write things, and that's fine. It gives me time to process your responses. But yeah, YouTube is my safe communication. I don't do as well in group settings. I don't do as well in any social setting, to be honest with you. I've always struggled with the way I perceive situations to be and the way other people perceive me, and those things not seeming to marry up very well sometimes. So I struggle with that, and that's why YouTube's been a godsend for me, because I can communicate. I feel like I'm communicating. I feel like I'm having a conversation, but I'm not being judged and being made to feel weird and crazy while I'm doing it. Maybe afterwards, when you write stuff, maybe. But at the time, no. So yeah, there were so many different comments, and at the end of the day, I think that the common theme of what everyone had to say was, we're all stuffed. Basically, as a species, as humanity, as far as humanity goes, we're all stuffed. Everybody is struggling. Everybody is struggling. Whether you're, and there's this, it's not a competition. It's not oh, but my situation's worse than yours because this. I don't deserve more sympathy or empathy because I don't live in a house, and you're better than me because you do live in a house. I know. You've written to me. You've spoken to me. I've heard you. People living in houses are stressing out because interest rates are going up. Their mortgage is getting unaffordable. There's all sorts of other householdy type expenses that happen that are all going up. And I get it. Everything's going up. Food's going up. The cost of living's going up. The cost of petrol's going up. The cost of getting anything done, because those things are going up, is also going up. It's astronomical how much prices have just gone crazy. Definitely in the last, I'd say, 10 years more than anything. 10 years ago, I still felt like I had a chance of buying into real estate. No way, no how anymore. Not at all. Not even a patch of dirt now. So I get it. We're all screwed. What do? Everybody thinks that the solution is a political one, or the problem is a political one. People, you need to wake up. Like, I know, I'm even loath to use those words, because the way I see the state of the world at the moment is, it's a lot of ludicrosity, if that's such a word. I'm going to make it up because I think it should be. You're all freaking mad. You're all mad. Like, if you've done any study into history at all, or politics at all, if you've ever read a constitution at all, like, you know what the oldest and most obvious tactic of war is since humanity began? Divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. The difference I saw in the United States that I moved to in the 80s to go to college, where I studied law and history and politics, where I had friends who were one side or the other, and it didn't taint anything between our friendship because it wasn't an issue. It wasn't what made you who you were. You didn't walk around identifying, I am a Republican or I am a Democrat, as if that was your identity. It was just, it's who you vote for. It's about as important as what you ate for dinner last night. It's just, it's not relevant. There was this pride. It was really, really, what's the word when you're really, really proud of your country? Patriotism? I think patriotism. Americans loved America. And look, I love America. I still love America. And I loved it too. Why do you think I moved there? Why do you think I wanted to go to college there? Like, I'd been born in a country that I never felt at home at, and I was looking for my place, and I felt I belonged more there than I had ever done in Australia. Not necessarily LA, kind of a bit of a different world. But, you know, I love the country, but there was this united feeling of everybody loved America and everything that it stood for, and that was something I saw deteriorate from the 80s to the 90s to the 2000s. Now it's just like us and them on every single issue, and you don't think that's being stoked by outside influences? Of course it is. So many people commented on my thing about the housing situation from a political point of view. The problem is immigration. The problem is this. Oh, this government, this prime minister, this, you know, it was all political, and that's not my angle. I don't care. Like, I mean, I don't say I don't care. Of course I care, but I think that whoever is in the government at any time is always going to be influenced by lobby groups, big business, and economics more than what's happening to anyone lower down the chain. That's it's the way it is. Power gets to people's heads, and they all spout all this ideology of helping, you know, the regular folk and things, but they get corrupted just like anybody else does with power and money and influence, and I just don't subscribe to that world at all. Like, I am completely and utterly apolitical. I don't I have been in the past involved in political parties and activism of sorts, and I've had strong viewpoints on certain things that I found, you know, confusing when they were the things that were important to me, the concepts and policies and ideals that were important to me suddenly became symbolic of a certain leaning in politics. That confused me because I wasn't looking at these issues from a political perspective. It was just from a human perspective for me. Choices I've made and things I've done and things I wish to see more of in our world as a human. I'm thinking, when I'm thinking of the state of the world, I'm thinking we are all human beings sharing a human experience as souls, wanting to live our best life in peace, harmony, and comfort as much as possible. What can we all do to make that more possible? If you think that the solution is in politics, you're deluded. It's never solved any of the world's problems. Whoever got voted in made maybe a little bit of difference here and there to certain ways of history, but generally people have always struggled in one way, shape or form, and other people have always succeeded, and the ones that succeed often don't really care much about the ones who've fallen behind. That's kind of just human nature. We, you know, survival of the fittest, which is basic biology, guys. We just want to survive. We'll survive long enough to reproduce, see our offspring grow up and be able to reproduce, and then die. Like, pretty basic. That's all we want. That's all we really want. The rest of it's just window dressing, you know. So yeah, that's why I haven't kind of come back with necessarily solutions to the housing crisis. I don't have the solution to the housing crisis. All I had was an idea that could help women like me. Now, all the offers of help for my personal circumstance, you can come and stay at my place, blah, 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 blah. Thanks, appreciate it. Have never taken anyone up on those kinds of offers because I have a lot of trauma in my life from people who have pulled the rug out from under me and let me down and promised me things that didn't eventuate and whatever. Anyway, I've been screwed over a lot by a lot of humans by being way too trusting and optimistic. So one thing I'm very determined to do is to make sure that my living circumstances are in no way dependent at all on any other human being whatsoever. So if I said yes, I would accept your kind offer to come and stay on your property, and you decided a week or two later or a month or two later that you didn't like me, because this happens, and you just, turf me out on the street and I have to search for a new place, and then I start feeling crap about myself again. It's taken me too long to get to a point of independence where I feel comfortable accepting any help from anyone else, and I wasn't expecting the government to solve my problems like some people suggested. Oh, if you think the government's going to solve your problems. I'm not expecting anyone to solve my problems at all. Nobody but me. And I don't have a problem with my life at the moment. I'm content, and I tried to tell the ABC that I'm content with my caravan life. I'm content with the fact that I move around. If moving around involves me going to a place that's got better weather, or going to a place where I can hang out with my kids, or going to a place where I can hang out with people I know, going from different environments. One minute I might want the desert, and the next minute I might want mountains. Like having that kind of flexibility of choices, being able to avoid extreme weather phenomena and fires and floods, and being able to roll into a different location if those things look like they're going to be a problem. Like, I'm really thankful for that. There are times when my health is really bad, and hitching up and rolling out and the expense of doing that is insurmountably overwhelming, and I wish I didn't have to. Of course I wish I had a home base. Of course I wish I had a place that I could roll in off the street, put a little fence around me that says, my space, leave me alone please. No random person who's probably the sixth person in a day that's come up to say, I just wanted to tell you I think your caravan's really cute. Like, I appreciate that, and I say thank you, but oh my gosh, it's hard being constantly in the public sphere. There's no privacy for me. Like, I stay in here oftentimes with the curtains drawn because that's my privacy, and of course I wish I had my space. A fence around me to just buffer me from the outside world would be awesome. A place where I don't have to get fully dressed just to go use the bathroom would be great, But in the meantime, I'm not expecting anyone to provide that for me, and I'm not expecting, and I'm okay with it not happening. I've adapted to this lifestyle, and I've made these choices and made it, making sparkly pink lemonade out of life's lemons. That's my thing. So yeah, I don't think my idea as an idea that I put out there. If somebody wants to run with that, if there's a philanthropist who wants to go buy a caravan park that's for sale and set it up for over 50s women, who are responsible, quiet, just want peace and quiet, places to live, that'd be great, but if not, hey, it was just an idea. There are lots of other ideas. I don't want a social housing house. I don't want to live in a high density environment. I don't want to live in a little box in the city or in a urban area at all. And people go, well, you are living in a little box. And I'm like, yeah, I am living in a little box. But at least I look out the window and see green things. That's kind of nice, At least I can walk across and swim in the river if it all gets a bit too overwhelming and my neighbours are annoying me. And if my neighbours really annoy me, I just roll away and go somewhere else, like I just did. And to the person, probably the last comment that I will address as far as negativity goes, who said, "Get real. You have no idea. At least you have a caravan and you're obviously making money. So, you know, you like, I have no right to speak on a situation because this person who wrote that comment is like, I'm literally living on the streets." And I did reply and I said, "I'm really sorry that that's your situation. And yeah, I have worked really hard to better my situation, because I could have been on the streets too. I could have. I am very thankful for the fact that my absolute determination is the only thing that's prevented that from happening. But if I didn't put myself out there, if I didn't put my energy into making a YouTube channel, into videoing my life, into being as vulnerable as I am, into putting my story out there for you guys, it's not like any of the advantages that I have in my life, it's not like any of them aren't available to anybody else. The fact that I've worked as hard as I have, the fact that I put myself out there busking, even though I really struggle with that. I come home sore, I'm exhausted, it's hard, I'm emotionally frazzled because I'm just so scared that someone's going to say something horrible, which is exactly what I feel every time I make a YouTube video. So whatever assistance I'm getting from YouTube or through donations and memberships, I really appreciate that. But there are steps I had to take too, you know, like I didn't just sit back in the darkness and go, "Oh, woe is me, and why isn't my situation better than it is?" You've got to take those steps. You've got to do something. You've got to proactively work towards making a situation better, and the more energy you put into that, then the more energy you get back. That's just been my personal experience. And if you want to call that luck, you know I don't like being called lucky. Not luck. I keep saying this, but if luck had anything to do with my situation, it would be a run of really bad luck that forced me to readjust everything and life and reality as I'd known it previously, and completely changed my circumstances. The luck that made this happen was bad. It wasn't the kind of luck I'd wish on my worst enemy. So don't call me lucky. You know, I would just rather you say, like that person who was like berating me because of my more fortunate circumstances than theirs. It's like, you know, from a human to human perspective, I could feel empathy and sadness for your situation. And all I really want, and some of you have been amazing at doing this, and I shouldn't need it, and it shouldn't matter, but it's like, good on you, Lisa. Good on you. You know? You turned a crap situation into something good. You did make lemonade out of life's lemons. You turned a shitty little old cheapest caravan you could find in the whole of Australia into the cutest little home that makes you feel safe and secure. You've made this life work for you. You flukily came up with this musical talent thing out of nowhere that, you know, was just me entertaining myself because I was bored during lockdowns, into like, hey, maybe I can make a little bit of money on the side during this. No. Oh my goodness. I didn't even know they had that inside them. I've been playing this whole time. I have a whole basket of fidget toys here that I play with, and one of them was this really cute pink unicorn that I've been squishing, and I obviously squished him so hard and I didn't realize he was full of goopy white foam. That's not very good. You can tell I'm anxious when I'm playing with squishy toys. It's like marshmallow consistency. I'm going to go clean this up. I'll be back in a sec. Oh my god, this is tragic. What the heck is this stuff? That's really quite a dangerous toy. Like, imagine if that happened with a little kid. Like, that's really sticky stuff on my hands. Smells kind of like glue. I don't know what toxic substance that is, but I've managed to get it off my hands and clean it up from, like it didn't get on me. I got that from the post office. I might tell them that. Like, that's a dangerous toy. Anyway, lucky I've got more. I've got a whole, I've got a whole tin of little. Oh, this is one of my favourite things too. I'm obsessed. I've been obsessed with these since I've been a kid. You know, these little collapsy things. Isn't they cute? Oh, I'll just play with that for hours and hours. I've got a few of them actually. There's one, I think Walmart has one that's like a actual unicorn one. I've seen it online. So if anyone's in America and sees any of these that are like a unicorn, please let me know. Send it to me, because I would love that. I have probably rambled on way too long again, so I'm just going to get this one out there. And I know I keep saying I'm going to address your screenshotted responses, and I really want to, but there's a part of me that I'm very burnt out and I'm very overwhelmed by it all, and it all kind of just, yeah, became just too much for me. And I'm sorry if that's the only reason you tuned into my channel, is because it's going to be about that issue. Like I said, it's mainly just about me and my life and the ups and downs and the challenges I face, and part of that is due to the fact that I don't have a home base. And when I say home base, I mean a place to call home, not a dwelling to call home. You can have a few different places you stay at regularly and it feels home-like, but you're always conscious of the fact that it's not really your home. So yeah, that's my life. And I hope you'll stick around and watch the rest of it. Lots, you know, I'll always have something to say and rave about, and if you're interested in that, I hope that you'll continue to stay on and like my videos and subscribe and support the channel. And if you want to join up as a member, that would be awesome. It's, I don't know, it's super cheap, like $3.99 a month or something, and it just is for those people, I call them my angels, that had just want to just give me a little regular boost to help me keep on top of my life, really. And lately, as a result of that really crazy video that went really well, I've been able to get a few things that help make my rig more off-grid ready. Because, you know, I'm not really like other caravan people. I'm not really a caravan channel, because caravans have running hot water and hot water cylinders and bathrooms and toilets and showers and solar on the roof and all sorts of setups that don't really apply to me. I kind of tend to follow more van life type channels, because people that live in vans, I can relate to their life. Like, this is basically the size of a van. The only difference being is that my truck pulls it instead of it being an all-in-one. But yeah, as far as the simplicity of the living situation and the high amount of effort and work that goes into just simple things like heating up water and filling the water tank, and, you know, I don't have plumbing connections or anything like that. So there's a lot of stuff that I've needed to get me to a point where I'm not paying for campsites, and YouTube and you guys have helped me to get to that point. And I just want to say a special thank you to everyone who's been particularly kind and generous, and how much I really appreciate you guys. It helps me when I'm feeling in a bit of a funk like I have been lately, to know that I'm not completely invisible, and I'm not completely unappreciated, and I'm not completely unsupported in the world. And that's thanks to you. So love you guys. See ya.